Yo, all right, today is Tuesday, May 5th. Squat set that you just watched was from Sunday the 3rd. That was 560 pounds. I intended to sink that for a triple. I know that I would have had a triple based on how the first one moved, but my IT band right here on the part of my thigh that you can just barely see on camera, it tightened up really badly, and I thought that I tore something. And here's the thing: is that if you're like if you watch this, you're a lifter. If you're like a true lifter, and you are the type of dude that's getting like real like amped up for these stop sets, that there might be like little like aches and pains here, but you have so much adrenaline pumping that you're not going to feel it after the set, or if you do, it's like the most minor thing in the world, and you're not even going to think about it. Like you might acknowledge it briefly, but then you're already like taking a breath for the next rep. If you have a pain that hurts you so bad after one rep that it's taking your focus away and you can like feel the pain, something's not right. So that's why I racked the bar. I for a second I wanted to take another rep, but I mean, like, I'm talking to myself underneath the bar and I'm like, oh, I'm hurt. Then there's a problem. It's a real problem. That happened. I'm still gonna compete in my meet coming up. Obviously, I'm still in pain 2 days later. Less so, but any sort of like knee extension aggravates my IT band really badly right now. Like walking up the stairs gives me a moderate amount of pain. So squatting is a terrible idea. I probably shouldn't be deadlifting either. So I'm just going to go and I'm going to bench, and I'm going to hit a bench PR, which is kind of what I want to get into. I want to get into two things. One is the commonality, if that's a word, how common injuries are in powerlifting. And then the second is, the positive reframe of it. So to start with the first one, if you're a powerlifter, if you're a serious lifter, if you watch this and you've competed before, you're around my strength level, you're stronger than me, you already know what I'm saying. But to some of you guys who are maybe newer into lifting, only a few years into it, at most, you're not really done like your novice phase, like you're still PRing every fucking session. You have to understand, you have to come to grips that if you are interested in taking strength training seriously, and you are going to go through you are going to train long enough that you're going to go through like peaking phases, you need to understand that injuries are going to happen. My first serious injury was in 2020. I was only 11 months into serious training, and obviously, we all know what happened in 2020. Couldn't leave the house for a while, and I was still like, I wasn't real strength training, but I was still like doing shit at home. So I don't really know if you can consider that. It was pretty goofy, but that's another story. So definitely less than a year into strength training, and I'm pulling sets of deadlifts. I don't really understand how to extend my back, and I kind of screw up my back because my lumbar spine is rounded, and I'm pulling like an idiot. And I couldn't deadlift or squat or really do any hip hinging for a while. I was in a lot of pain. It took me 2 to 3 months to fix the injury, just because I was young and I was an idiot and I was new to lifting, and I just kept making bad decisions that prolonged the injury. And a buddy of mine, I don't know if he watches the videos. If he does, he knows, you know who you are. He gave me a lot of guidance when I got into training seriously, and I wanted to start powerlifting. And he basically said the name of the game is making as much progress as you can before you get snapped up. And then you're going to have to take a step back. And he's like, if you are unwilling to come to terms with that, then this isn't for you. And that was really, really good advice. And I do want to, pass that on to anybody watching this. That's going to happen. The lesson, this injury 100% was avoidable, and I brought it upon myself. I had 1 foot in, 1 foot out on if I was going to compete in this meet. My friend asked me to do it, probably 8 weeks out of the meet. And I was like, I don't know. And then I got back on I was not in condition. I'm coming back in. I'm doing, kind of like sets of 8 on higher rep squats to kind of build my base up and get back into shape. And I basically jumped from higher reps, like sets of 8, and then I did the 535 last week and then 560 this week. That's too much progress too soon. I try to taper way too aggressively, way too quick. And that's really different. That's not wise. That's very unwise. I did what I had to do. And I was really pushing it because I wanted this, 635 squat, 615 minimum at the meet. And I added too much to the bar too soon. I wasn't in condition for, heavy sets like that. And this is where we're at now. And, that is what it is. Don't do that. Now my bench is still moving well. My bench, it's been heavy sets of 5-ish reps for a while, so I'm not pushing the bench too hard too soon. My deadlift was going to suck, but it wasn't hurting me. It wasn't going to hurt me. But my IT bands have been flaring up, and I chose to ignore that, and I did what I did. Bench will be fine. Knock on wood. And so that's the positive reframe of it, is that it sucks. And I wanted to go get that 600 plus squat really badly. I said I'm coming to the meet just to squat. I might hit a small bench PR, but it's going to be nothing impressive. And my deadlift, I probably won't even PR. In fact, I'd just be happy to pull 6. So it's very frustrating. But the positive reframe is now I'm going to bench. And because I'm not going to be squatting, I'll just be training bench. It's going to be bench only, 2 bench days a week. And then I'll add, another day in of some upper back work. That's a wise decision. And so now it's more energy to put into the bench, so I can expect a bigger bench PR. And that has to be you're going to get injured. And when you do, you need to put a positive spin on what happened. If it's an upper body injury, you can focus more on lower body. If it's lower body, you can focus more on upper body. That's the easiest positive spin in the world. I got a good example of this. I got it from Dan Green. And Dan Green, he was on, I think it was like the Elite FTS Table Talk last year. And apparently he has like a nerve injury or something, so his bench is just in the gutter. And he can't really progress with it. In fact, it's like falling off real bad. He has to rehab that injury or he won't ever bench heavy. And just with his life circumstances, he's like, oh, I can't do that right now. So I just train my lower body. And I think he said like 2 or 3 lower body sessions a week, just like squat and deadlift. And he's like, well, they're as strong as ever, so I'm going to keep pushing them. And it's like, well, that has to be what it is. You get injured and you're going to like depress yourself if you're just waiting to come back and be into shape. Like you have to understand that's, it's not going to happen anytime soon. So what can you do? What is the most pragmatic way to go forward in spite of the injury? Because that's what it has to be. Like you can rehab it, sure. And it's like, if that's what you want to do, but what are you going to do in the meantime? Like if you're a guy that likes lifting heavy, you're not going to be lifting heavy. You're rehabbing the injury. So if that's the way you can put a positive spin on it, is, oh, I'm going to build back better. Okay. But in the meantime, that's the easiest positive spin on it, is now I can focus on something else and I'll have more energy for that other thing. I can expect bigger results for myself because I have more energy to put into said thing. And that's the route that I'm taking with it. It's the route I recommend that you all would take if anybody finds themselves in the situation where this advice becomes applicable to them, which if you want to be a serious lifter and this hasn't happened to you yet, it will be. And that's what you have to do. You have to be pragmatic through injury. I've had several times, it always seems to generally be lower body that I'll have issues with, and I can't train certain lifts, and it's always, okay, what can I do? Now I expect more from myself for these lifts. This is what I can do. You learn how to train around things. That's what you need to do. That's what I'm trying to do.